Something else that you'll notice about the elementary classroom is we do have special classroom activities. We have things called going outs, or we might even have meet and greets. And for those of us that went to public school, we might remember field trips. We don't do those very often. Instead, generally, there'll be a group of 2 to 5 students who are really enthusiastic about learning something. A good example I always use is that I had 3 girls who once wanted to make a butterfly garden. And they did a lot of research in the classroom, and they even went to the library and got books. But then when it came down to it, that was not my area of expertise. And they had some ideas, but we wanted to know specifically about plants that would grow well in Indiana and also attract butterflies and be safe to be around the children. So they decided to go to a local nursery to ask someone who was an expert in that field. And with these kids, you have to fuel that fire. So when they have that flame of enthusiasm going, you have to fan it. You have to keep it going. If I had told them, well, hold on, first we have to get these permission forms and we have to schedule somebody to come, and probably within a day or 2, they would have lost their enthusiasm for that project. But we planned to going out instead. So they called the local nursery that day, and the next day they went and visited it and got their questions answered. And so that's a going out. Those will happen spontaneously throughout the school year. Meet and greets are often scheduled by the children during outside of school hours. So another example is we had someone really interested in honeybees, and they wanted to visit the honeybee farm. But we didn't really have time during our school day. And so they arranged a Saturday where we could go in, and then just whatever families wanted to go met there. We call that a meet and greet. Lunches, we do cook lunches once a week. That's a student-led activity, a student-guided activity. So there's one child per week who chooses the menu, who shops for those groceries, who cooks the food, and who cleans up after the food. And they do choose a friend to help them if they like, along with a teacher guide that will help them with that. We have something called end of the day jobs, although right now we do them in the middle of the day jobs. So this is where practical life becomes more practical, where we have to dust our shelves, and we have to take out the trash, and we have to feed our animals, and we have to make sure our supplies are full. We have enough pencils on the pencil shelf, and that there's enough spray to clean off the tables at the end of the day. And there's somebody that invites people to lunch, and somebody makes sure the room is clean so that we can go to lunch. And so the children are responsible for those kinds of things. We do have specials. Those are self-led. And so like either myself or Miss Pam will lead art, music, PE. We do all of those things. We do present the ideas to the children. We ask them to practice it, but we don't force them to. So we won't make them do every art project that we have available, but we do want them to come and hear the lesson, and then they can decide whether to do it or not. We have a student council that's elected, and so you'll see elections happening in the fall. First graders are invited to be observers in that, but not participators until they've sat through several sessions, and then their second grade year and up, they can run for office. And they just help make decisions about our classroom, and if there's issues happening in the classroom, they help handle those. We also have fundraisers and student-led activities. I have no idea what those will be because I don't know this particular group of people yet until they all get together. So they will decide those things throughout the school year, and we have things we've done in the past that oftentimes they want to do again. But those things do get messy sometimes, and that's okay because we do let them be guided in making these decisions. And so sometimes they make decisions that won't pan out, and we let that happen. So it does get a little messy. They're not always super organized, but we do try to guide them along figuring that out and let them make mistakes so that they can learn from their mistakes. And then our practical life, I've already talked about that, how our practical life is very, very practical.